Hey guys, this is question MM016 of the Sharpen Maths Methods Study Guide. How to find the inverse of a function and find the domain of that inverse as well. So to start with, we need to know that an inverse is when you swap a function and reflect it over the y equals x axis, which essentially means swapping the x and y values and then solving for y. So we know that f of x equals 1 over root 2x take 3. And to find the inverse, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, for the inverse you always need to say, not as important for multiple choice questions, but for short answer where you need to explain yourself, this is very important. For inverse, swap x and y, then solve for y. Because if you just swap x and y, you've just created a new function out of nowhere. So just make sure you say this. So then you let x equal 1 over root 2y take 3. And then you just solve for y. So that means that x times root 2y take 3 equals 1. You divide both sides by x, which gives you root 2y take 3 equals 1 on x. You square both sides to get rid of that square root. Equals 1 over x squared. Add the 3. 1 over x squared plus 3. And then that brings it up to y equals 1 over 2x squared plus 3 on 2, because you've divided both sides by 2. Which means that f dash 1x, which is your inverse, is equal to 1 over 2x squared plus 3 on 2. Now we need to look for this in the answers, which you have C as your answer. However, you need to be very, very careful about this domain. The reason why is because the domain of the inverse function is the same as the range of the original function. Now, what's the range of the original function? We know that if you're familiar with the square root functions, this graph is going to go from a range of 0 to infinity. And if you're not sure of that, you've got your calculator with these questions, just use that and sketch it and see what it comes out with. And you've got a domain of your f inverse of x from 0 to infinity, which doesn't match this original domain. So C is not your right answer. And if you picked C, this is the reason why it's incorrect. R not including 0 is the incorrect domain. 0 to infinity is the same as all positive values of R, which actually means our answer is E. And the reason why is a little bit of a trick answer, but if you join these two fractions together, you get 1 over 2x squared plus 3x squared over 2x squared, which equals 1 plus 3x squared over 2x squared, which means that our answer is E because this inverse function is correct, and our domain is 0 to infinity, which is the same as R positive, so our answer is E.